Lot going on in your world right now. That like the Irish are all over the place here this week.
A lot going on, and very little of it has to do with Notre Dame men's basketball at this point. It's all football all the time, rightfully so, because the Irish have been on a serious college football playoff roll here the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll touch on the hoops in a bit here, but
Yeah.
Are you in Atlanta now, Tom? What's the coverage plan for you here the next few days?
I will be en route Friday morning to Atlanta for the weekend, so I have been all football all the time all week. Did swing by and talk with Micah Shrewsbury for a couple of minutes this afternoon, but yeah, Friday will be football headed toward the ATL for football on Friday afternoon.
Tom, I look back at the last decade or so, I guess, call it the Brian Kelly era. They made that one title game and got just absolutely whacked by Alabama. They made the one other college football playoff and, got drubbed in the semifinals. I look at this Notre Dame team. I don't know. This Ohio State team is crazy talented. I don't know what's going to happen on Monday night. This is the best Notre Dame team I've seen in 30 years, talent-wise. How they're playing, is that the same vibe you're getting? I probably got to go back 91, 92 in that range till I get to a Notre Dame team I might take over this one.
It's been a rebuild since that 2012 title game against Alabama as to everybody over at Notre Dame, the administration, the athletic department, the academic side, everybody had to be pulling in the same direction and said, look, if we're going to get back and we're going to challenge for national championships and not just be satisfied making a college football playoff here or there, we need a roster that's going to compete. And by far, this is the most talented roster that Marcus Freeman has ever had in his 3 years at Notre Dame, and it might be the most talented roster, like you said, in decades, because they've gotten it from everywhere, from everyone. Just when you think that a critical injury of a player that goes down, somebody else steps in. So it has a roster of depth, it's talented, and it's a confident group, maybe as confident as they've ever been since 1988.
And obviously that's the last Irish national championship that they got under Lou Holtzbeck in the day. Syracuse fans aren't bitter at all about the Heisman from the year before that. Everyone's gotten over that. I look at this Irish team and you look at Freeman. I think how it is with Notre Dame. It's a love 'em or hate 'em operation, and I've heard from a lot of people here in this Irish run and this Irish season that's like, I don't like Notre Dame. But, that Marcus Freeman guy's taking the edge off for me a little bit. What is it about Freeman that's got everyone so intrigued?
He's just a likable guy, and the fact that he's 39 years old. Like, he's not one of those guys. He's not one of those lifers that's slept on his couch for 16 hours and gone to this job or that job or that. Like, he's 39 years old. He seems like he can still play linebacker, which is what he played at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. And he can relate to today's student athlete, whereas Brian Kelly was always like, I'm the CEO, I'm in my office, you go down there and you go and practice and do whatever you need to do. So he's a very likable guy, and he's made Notre Dame likable.
Yeah, Kelly won a lot of games. Nothing against him, right? Like, he won a ton of games. He was a 10-win-a-year guy for the most part down the back half of his stretch there. But yeah, he's not warm and fuzzy. He's not. You don't feel like giving Brian Kelly a hug or something at that point. How important was it? Like, it was that change in attitude, I guess, around the program for the Irish.
It was critical. Like, it just had to be done where. Once Brian Kelly left and they decided that it was Marcus Freeman, they were going all in, not only on Marcus Freeman, but on whatever it took. NIL, coaching salaries, the depth, the roster that we talked about, whatever it took for Notre Dame to get back to where the place that it's going to be in Monday night, this university was going to do it. And I don't know if they were always all in, and it had nothing to do with Brian Kelly. Mm-hmm. It was just the way the university was structured, where they were like, we can compete and still be kind of the way Notre Dame used to be in the 80s and the 70s. And it was that type of thinking that has led to the fact that they haven't won a national championship in almost 4 decades. Once everybody got on the same page, academics, athletics, everybody, they believed that they were going to be able to do something that they've done this year, and that's get to a national championship game. Now, let's see if they can close.
I look at we've talked about this before with the Irish. Like Irish and the portal, it's a tricky bridge to cross, right? When you got academics. But I look at the last couple of years of what they've done at quarterback. You bring in the Wake Forest quarterback. Now you got the Duke quarterback when you're going from Hartman and Leonard. Like it feels like they've really figured out the right way to find, high level guys, but the right high level guys for this program.
But you can't take anybody, and you can't take everybody at Notre Dame. Academically, that's just not going to be allowed. Riley Leonard was on track to graduate, and some of the classes that he took at Duke, those credits did not transfer to Notre Dame. So it's not like they can just open the door and say, we want 3 offensive linemen, 2 defensive linemen, let's get a nickel back, let's get a safety, and how about a punter? Everything has to align, everything has to fit, and they have to be very selective on who they take as transfers. They've done that at the quarterback position. They've done that in the defensive positions to where the guys that they get are key guys, and they contribute.
Do you see Freeman as a long-termer at Notre Dame? Obviously, he's got a great situation. You mentioned the NAL. Notre Dame's got as almost unlimited funds, give or take. He's getting paid extremely well right now. But, NFL, will they have interest or whatever? Is he, no, I know nobody's a lifer in anything anymore. Is he a lifer, for lack of a better term? Or is Notre Dame going to have to fend off advances here, do you think, in the upcoming years?
If this were Marcus Freeman's 8th year at the University of Notre Dame and the conversations talked about the Chicago Bears want to speak with Marcus Freeman or NFL team A, B, or C is interested in Marcus Freeman, there would be cause for concern. But this is Marcus Freeman's 3rd year at Notre Dame, and he's building something here. He believes it, and he has talked about it at length about how he believes in the long-term aspect of what it is to be the head coach at the University of Notre Dame. So is that just lip service for Marcus Freeman until the dollar signs come calling? I don't think so. I think he's in it for the long haul, and honestly, he knows absolutely nothing about the way the NFL works. Knows nothing. If it was something where he was a coordinator in the NFL for 3 or 4 years and then made the leap to Notre Dame, yes, then I'd see that there might be a pull for him to come back. But I just think right now, he's in this thing for the long haul, and at Notre Dame, the long haul is the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, and we'll see where that goes after that.
Yeah, and we know this. If they need to match some money, they can afford that to match some money if they need to. Just on what they've brought in from the college football playoff alone this year. What have you made of this? First year, 12-team playoff. There was a home game in South Bend. That was kind of cool, and now coming off that fantastic win against Penn State. What has this last month been like to be around this playoff?
It's been absolutely ridiculous. Like, I'm sitting here on January 16th, and I'm not thinking about anything but college football. Like, to understand that the Notre Dame football players were on campus for Thanksgiving. They are on campus for Christmas. They are on campus for the entirety of winter break. The second semester, the spring semester, started Monday, and they're still playing football. It's ridiculous. I don't know how you can move it up. But you've got to do something where it's like this season has been so long and it's been such a grind. But you know what? Nobody at Notre Dame and nobody that covers Notre Dame is going to say anything about it, because you get a team like this, you get a season like this, you just buckle in and say, let's ride this thing out and enjoy it however long it lasts.
What are you expecting, Tom, Monday night? The Irish, Ohio State's the best team money can buy, we know, with what they've put together this year. What kind of game are you expecting on Monday?
Because of that, all the pressure, all of it, and that's pressure like beat Michigan at home kind of pressure is on Ohio State. Everybody's picking Ohio State. Nobody's really going to give Notre Dame a chance. I think that works in the Irish favor. I'm picking Notre Dame to win and close this thing out, because you just got a sense of being around this group that there was something different about them in late October, early November, to where they were going to take this thing all the way, and no matter who was there at the end, they'd be the last team standing.
Yeah, I think it could be a very fascinating game. Like, Irish teams in previous years would probably get steamrolled in a game like this, but this year, I don't see any reason why it can't be a field goal game like it has been last week on Monday night coming up. We got Tom Noie, South Bend Tribune, with us. All right, Tom, a little hoops. Second meeting, Cuse and the Irish. on Saturday. Neither team had their best player last time out. Irish won a close one. Now both teams will have their best player with Burton and JJ here on Saturday. What do you make of this one? As obviously both teams have kind of struggled since that last time they met a month ago.
You've got one team heading in one direction, and that's Notre Dame, and the other team that has absolutely no direction, and that's Syracuse. I still cannot believe that when I turned the TV on watching the Louisville game that they were down 20-plus points in that building to that program. Like, I'm watching, the more I watch Syracuse, and especially watching them against Louisville the other night, I'm watching Syracuse, and I'm getting a lot of Kenny Payne Louisville vibes from that Syracuse team. I don't know what's going on up there. So it's something where Notre Dame feels really good about itself. Syracuse does not feel good about itself. And this is a game that Notre Dame should go in there and should win just based on, they're two average teams in a very below-average ACC. But if Micah Shrewsbury is the offensive wizard type of coach that everybody believes he could be, he should X and O his way into a win at the Dome on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, that's what kind of happened. It felt like late in the game in South Bend a month ago, and it's not been a fun watch here recently. Everyone's handling it fine here. Nobody's freaking out.
Sure they are.
We're not doing therapy sessions every day on the air here. Everything's just fine. We don't have 7 more weeks of it to go. Everything's just fine. But Burton back. What does that change? We obviously saw him play last year. What does that do for the Irish that's going to be different Saturday than what we watched a month ago?
Other than the fact that it's given him 19 points, that he's given them 19 points a game, it's just they flow better. Like nobody can probe a defense and get into the lane and find guys in the right spots for the right shots the way Marcus Burton can. When Marcus Burton is not in the ball game, and he wasn't that first time around when the teams played out here in December, it was a 69-64 game because Notre Dame doesn't really have a point guard that can do the things that Marcus Burton can do. And the fact that he's back, it allows everybody else to assume their roles, that they're way more comfortable in playing, and it just lets everything flow the way it's supposed to flow. We've seen that now in the last couple of games where, they lose at Duke, but they score 78 points at Cameron. They lose at home to North Carolina, but they score 73. They get 78 against Boston College. Without Burton, it was a struggle to even get to 70. So he just makes life so much easier for everybody else on that team.
All right. Well, we'll be checking it out for sure on Saturday. You'll be neck deep in it down in Atlanta, Tom. But appreciate the time today and enjoy that game Monday. Should be a blast.
You got it, my man. Take care.
All right, there he is, our friend Tom Noie from the South Bend Tribune. He is all up in that football coverage right now. But we got to talk a little hoops. So we got the Orange and the Irish on Saturday at